All right, welcome to another episode of Webster Family Farm. It's been a couple months since we last posted. We apologize for that. We kind of were in the busy season here on the farm. So this episode is going to be a recap of what's going on here, new things, things that are no longer with us, and all that kind of stuff. So to start off, you can see that the chicken pasture is empty. So yeah, so one of the things that we've been busy so far this fall, summer, whatever you want to call it, since the last video is, we've been processing a lot of chickens and turkeys, and that takes up weekends and different things like that. Also, we've been busy with our mobile petting zoo and all that kind of stuff. So again, this video is going to be going over some things that are different, some things that are new, some things that are gone from before. So the first thing, and I don't know if we talked about this in previous videos or not, is here on Webster Family Farm, we are out of the cattle business. So again, we don't have any more cows. Oh, there's Hank. Hi, Hank.
Hi, Hanky.
Yeah, we still have Hank. That was probably one of the hardest decisions for Laura and myself. We both really enjoyed having cattle and the different things that brought to not only our family, but to the people we sold our meat to. But right now we're taking a break from them. We have sold our entire herd. It was roughly 18 head when we got out of it from that standpoint. We've been out for a couple months. We may have mentioned it in previous videos, but just covering it for people who may not be aware. So again, it's not that, there's anything wrong with being in cattle. I think it's a great adventure. It was a dream of mine for a long time. It just wasn't really the right thing for us at the moment. We had kind of maxed out the number of cattle we could have on our property, and it was very time consuming. All farming is time consuming, especially when it's not your full-time job, but cattle are extra time consuming. They're extra demanding. They're hard on everything. And honestly, it got to the point that, we'd been doing it for about 2 years with at least the cattle, and Laura and I had not gotten badly injured yet, and we were really lucky that we hadn't. So when we started looking into seeing what it was going to cost to, not injure ourselves with some of the handling equipment, it was going to be a really expensive investment. And I'm not talking a couple of $1,000s. I'm talking like thousands of dollars, like 10, 15,000, and that's just for the cheap stuff. So again, you can still do it without all that stuff, but for what we were doing, it wasn't going to make sense. So some animals that aren't here currently, so we're out of the cattle business. We aren't out of the pig business, but the pigs are gone for the year. We processed our pigs a couple months ago, 2 months ago or so, and whatnot. There's a little piggy right there. And then, so the cows, the pigs are gone, and then the meat chickens and turkeys are gone. And obviously we process those ourselves. So a couple of new things to the farm. You can see one of them off in the distance. Well, you can see.
All right, Tina.
We
Tina
are officially
Turner.
in the alpaca game. We've got a mating pair of alpaca. One whose name is Tina, short for Tina Turner, and a white one who is
I think
Goofy,
he's back there.
named Snowball, which Laura will hopefully try to find out.
He was back there with our pony. Let me see if I can find him. I'm trying to hold the camera steady. He was.
And they might come up when we start feeding animals here in a little bit.
There he is.
And Laura's gonna add in
Snowball!
a clip of the alpacas as well to this video. That might even become a little separate insert that we do, like a sub video between videos of us talking of the alpaca drama on the farm. They're definitely some funny animals.
Snowball, what are you doing? What are you doing, Tina? What is Snowball doing? What are you doing?
And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to come over this way. And then we're going to So another addition that I don't know if we've covered yet, we may have covered a couple of them or not, are the sheep. So when we got out of the cattle game, we decided to get into the sheep game. So we have two types of sheep here. We have the smaller fuzzy ones, which are nicknamed baby doll sheep. I believe they're full breed of southern down sheep. I could be wrong. The two brown ones are females, and this white one here is a male. They're
Ron the ram.
And then, yeah, he's a ram. And then we've got the 5 St. Croix sheep back there. There's 4 ewes and a ram. And again, we're raising those for meat, so we won't actually eat the ewes. We'll process their offspring and whatnot, kind of similar to what we did with the cattle. We won't eat the baby doll sheep. They're part of the petting zoo, but because they're sheep, we keep all the sheep together. And we still have the goats, which we'll see a couple more of. You can see the bucks over there in the distance.
1, 2, and then 3.
They're all by themselves over there because they stink. It's that time of year. Plus, they kind of always stink. So, plus we don't want to have kids popping out 24/7, so we control that a little bit. Okay, so now we're gonna go over. We've talked about all the new stuff and some of the stuff that has changed, but the informational side of this video is going to be prepping for the winter. So one thing we've got set up and I'm working on finishing the electrical on is we have our kidding pins here, or lambing pins, because we'll use them for both. So these are individual pins that we'll use once we start kidding and lambing, and we'll hang the lights and all that kind of stuff, so we can kind of keep them separate and whatnot. Again, we don't have enough to put every single one that kids and lambs, but they don't always kid and lamb at the same time either. We've got all of our food up and ready to go in the barn so we can stay nice and warm in the winter. And then we've also got our hay stockpile. That's one of the plus sides of getting out of cattle is now we only have to worry about square bales. Yes, we have to worry about more square bales than we did in the past, but everything's by hand. Yeah, some may think, oh, round bales aren't that bad. You just move them with your big old tractor. Well, yes, but it also creates more. You got to open the doors. You got to move around in the snow and all that kind of. Trust me, it's going to be an easier winter this year. Something else that we're doing different this year is we've got our laying hens inside of the barn as well. And Laura will work her way over there.
And tell them why we have those extension cords hanging down too.
Okay, so the extension cords are going to be connected to power once we actually need them. It's not quite getting cold enough at night to where we need them, but there's actually heated waterers in there. Mm-hmm. So compared to what we used to do before is we'd have the black rubber water containers that we just bust open every single day. This way they'll have actual water for them throughout the day. So again, we've got our 1 year plus old layers over here. We actually recently processed some of our original layers that were 3+ years. And then we've got our newest layers over here, which are starting to lay, as you guys can see in there, that are less than a year old. Again, and then over here, we have our makeshift hay trough to feed all the animals that come in. So you can see all the goats. Again, we still have the Nigerian dwarf and the Overhasley goats. And then you can see Zeus and Hank over there as well.
There's
looking
Hanky
so handsome.
and
Zeus over here, he's like, it's time to eat. So again, the alpacas and the pony can come in here as well. But again, feeding them inside makes life a lot better. It also gives them a place to hide from the cold and whatnot. I'll show you how we feed the sheep as well. So again, we've done some change ups in here, making it a little easier to move around and whatnot. So out here you can see that we can access the sheep and the goats fairly easily. The sheep have a wind block up here as well, and they also have the shelter out there. And then over here you can see the dogs. We still have to go out here to feed the bucks, but it's not as bad. We can always drive over there as well and feed them from the outside. And they also have a shelter that keeps them out of the weather. Again, the animals don't need actual supplemental heat for the most part in Indiana. I'm not saying it can't get cold enough to where they might need it, but for the most part, it doesn't. The big thing they need is to be able to get out of the weather, which all of our animals have that ability. So we'll come back. And again, this comes down to, some people ask the questions on how do Laura and I do this and still have full-time jobs and make this our part-time job. Watch him.
Hey, are you trying to get in here? Oh.
Well, one of the ways that we're able to do it is we've got systems in place, and the way we have stuff structured is it makes the work a lot easier throughout the day. So people want, why do you change stuff the way you do? Well, as we figure out obstacles we have, we change things around it to make life a little bit easier for us. Watch out, Waffle. And then the last thing we have set up, ready to go for the winter. Again, this is something we had obstacles with for a long time. I'm not saying you have to have this stuff, but it's stuff over time that we've invested in that make our lives a little bit easier in the winter. We've got a heated water trough in here. Again, it's just your basic de-icer that you put in there, and it kicks on automatically. And something we just purchased this year is this heated water hose. So
it's amazing.
It's amazing. We also have another water hose in here as well when we have to fill up for the sheep, but it's not heated. We keep it unhooked and not being used. This thing is awesome. Again, it's not the cheapest thing. It's not the only way to keep your stuff from freezing in the winter. Again, we have the frost-free hydrant and whatnot. Previous to this, we would have to unhook the hose every single day. Again, it doesn't take a lot of time, but does add up when you're doing it daily. And we'd have to stretch it out and walk it out and make sure we get all the water out, because if you don't, it freezes overnight. And if you leave this on overnight, it freezes overnight and it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. But the way this works is there's basically a heated wire that runs through here, and this also has the insulation around it, and then it hooks up to the wall as well. And it's got a built-in thermostat, so when it drops below a certain temperature, it kicks on. But it's definitely a lifesaver. We still leave it open like that at the end of the day, just so that it can suction back down through this and it doesn't freeze up. We don't want to test its ability to work, so we do some of the same things we did before, but we don't have to walk it out, because even before, when we would do all that stuff, we would have the hoses freezing on us, which would then turn into us having to lug hoses back and forth from the house just so that they wouldn't freeze. So again, just more labor when it's cold and everything else is already harder. So again, a lot of new exciting stuff happening here. We're going to be adding some new stuff as well as we go, adding some advances to our chicken processing and different things like that, just trying to streamline stuff. So again, sorry for the delay in videos, between us being busy with the busy time of year. Obviously we've all had some sickness going around. We had some sickness going around our family and whatnot, which made life a little more harder for us to video as well. So again, don't forget to like and subscribe. We will be having more videos. And again, it may not be a video of me talking about different things. We'll probably interchange it with alpaca drama or whatever we decide to call that segment of it. So again, thank you for following us and watching another episode of Webster Family Farm.